Hey guys, welcome back. Hope you all are doing well. In this video, we will discuss the operational aspect of KYC. So, guys, I already did a video on KYC. So what is KYC? What are the guidelines of RBI and the important act related to KYC? Okay, so here in this particular video, we are going to discuss the operational aspect of KYC. Okay, these things we already discussed, like RBI guidelines, risk management through KYC, and officially valid documents for KYC. I hope you already watched that particular one. If not, please do watch that particular video. That will help you to develop your concepts and fundamentals about KYC. Okay. And one more request, please do subscribe my channel and do like the video. And if you really like video, please do share with your friends so other can also watch. Okay. So we will start with the basic things, that is KYC. So what is KYC basically? Know your customer. Okay, basically this is a documentation process. Whenever any bank or financial institutions, those they generally onboard any customer, so they have to do or they generally ask for some kind of documentations. So the entire documentation process is generally known as KYC. Okay, and the motive behind this particular documentation is to avoid any kind of financial fraud or identity theft, or to avoid any kind of money laundering activity or the illegal transactions in the system. Okay, so with the help of this documentation process, bank they generally try to like we can say they generally keep that particular record, and they identify or they know their customer well, so they can avoid any kind of mishappening with the system. Okay, so if we talk about the objective, it is to prevent a bank from being used intentionally or unintentionally by criminal element for money laundering activities. Okay, so many time I hope you heard about the different frauds in the banking system. So to protect bank or financial institutions with these kind of fraud, we generally ask for a few documentations from customers whenever we onboard them. So that process is generally known as KYC. KYC is a method of a company that verify the customer's identity and assess a possible risk to the business relationship from the criminal intentions or activities. The name is used to relate to the regulation on bank and anti-money laundering regulations that govern such activities. So, like the terrorist financing or the fake accounts creation or any kind of money laundering activity. So, which is to prevent bank or the financial system from these kind of activities. We have some guidelines. These guidelines are generally drafted by RBI, and we have certain act like Money Laundering Act 2005 or Banking Regulation Act 1949. So where we have mentioned these particular guidelines. Okay, so Reserve Bank of India adopted the KYC process to avoid financial fraud such as identity theft or benami account, money laundering, and illegal transactions. To achieve these particular goal, or to protect bank or Indian banking system or financial system from any kind of money laundering activity, so we have KYC rules. Okay, so KYC principle were issued by RBI. Do remember this, under the Banking Regulation Act 1949, Section 35A. So under Section 35A of BR Act 1949, the guidelines about the documentation process which is mentioned, and even time to time as there is a like if RBI found some loophole in the system, so they generally change these particular guidelines. Okay, so related to identification and verification of depositors, which is mentioned under Section 35A of Banking Regulation Act 1949. Along with this Banking Regulation Act 1949 Section 35A, we have Rule 7 of Prevention of Money Laundering Act 2005. Okay, so which generally cover the maintenance of record of the nature and value of transactions, the procedure and manner of maintaining, and time for the furnishing information and verification and maintenance of record of the identity of client of a banking company and financial institution or any intermediary. So we have two major sections. Do remember these one. One is Section 35A of Banking Regulation Act 1949, which generally deal with the identification process of the customers, and Rule 7 of Prevention of Money Laundering Act 2005, which generally cover so many things like the maintenance of records or the nature and value of transaction or the procedure and manner of maintaining and time for furnishing information and verification and maintenance of record. So these are generally comes under the Rule 7 of Prevention of Money Laundering Act. Okay, so try to remember these particular one. This is very important part. Okay, so now if you talk about the proof of identity and the proof of address, so in our previous video as well, I told you about the six officially valid documents. Okay, so these documents are affiliated by Government of India as well as RBI. Okay, so we have six officially valid documents. So the Government of India has identified six documents as officially valid documents for the purpose of producing the proof of identity. So for ID proof, you can use these particular documents. These are Aadhaar card issued by Uday, and we have passport. You can present driving license, voter identity card, PAN card, and Manrega job card. So these are the officially valid documents for the identity proof. Okay. So now, like, we will deep dive each particular things one by one. So whenever you talk about the KYC purpose or the KYC process, entire things. So these are the four major areas where this documentation things generally work. Okay. So first one is customer acceptance policy. So customer acceptance policy, where basically customer, they generally accept the guidelines. Like, let's say if you open some account with any bank, so we do have some rules and regulations. We our financial system, they have some requirements. So we will accept that particular customer then only when he fulfill the guidelines. Okay, or that generally part of your customer acceptance policy. Okay, where we have customer due diligence and all. So we will discuss this one in detail. Second one is customer identification procedure. So as I told you about the officially valid documents, that is for individual. For companies, we have different one, or for partnership firm, we have different one. So we will discuss that one also. Monitoring of transaction. Do you know, guys? Like, whenever transaction you do, so like, let's say you did a transaction with any XYZ bank, so that particular bank, they have to maintain a record for 5 years, at least for 5 years. Okay, so that particular thing is the part of monitoring of transaction. And the final one is risk management. So with the help of KYC documentation process, we are like, the primary objective is to prevent bank from any kind of money laundering activities through the KYC process. Okay, so whenever you study KYC or the operational aspect of KYC, these are the four important areas which where we generally work. Okay, so first one, we have a customer acceptance policy. So customer acceptance policy of a bank is an important document in determining the basis on which the bank enter into a relationship with customer. So like, we have RBI have given some set of guidelines, rules. Okay, so like, if being a banker, whenever you open account of any customer, so you have to follow these particular guidelines. You have to ask customer to present these particular documents. It can be related to identity proof or income proof or address proof. Okay, so that is generally part of your CAP, which is known as customer acceptance policy. Okay, so the bank will accept only those customers whose identity is established by conducting due diligence appropriate to the risk profile of the customer. Okay, so let's say whenever you give loan to any customer, so before granting that particular loan or sanctioning that particular loan, so you have to do the customer due diligence process, or you have to follow this particular one. So after a satisfactory result, you can only grant the loan. Okay, like if you do not find that particular customer appropriate to the system, or that particular customer made some default in the past, or he do not have that much of credit value, so you can like in that particular case you can reject the loan application of that particular customer. Okay, so customer due diligence is information obtained for all customer to verify the identity of a customer and assess the risk association with that particular customer. Okay, so to like whenever you talk about the CDD, customer due diligence, two major part. One is identification process, address proof, income proof, or the ID proof. So here basically you will ask for some documentation process. Second one is like where you will generally check the credit worthiness of that particular customer. Okay, that particular customer had the credit worthiness to afford that particular loan or not. So that is the second part. So first one, customer acceptance policy. Second one, we have customer identification process. Okay, so identification, if you talk about the identification process, it is differ from per individual, company and partnership firm. So here we have some documentation whenever you do the customer identification process. So basically you ask for some documents like for address proof, ID proof. So we have different documents. Okay, I'll hide myself so you can clearly watch these particular areas. So first one is account for individual. First account we have for individual. So if you talk about the legal name and any other name used, so you need these six documents. ID proof, these are the part of your ID proof. Okay, so you can use, or the customer can present any of the six officially valid documents. Okay, these are like Aadhaar card, PAN card, Manrega job card, or the other things like your passport and all. That is a little part of this one. And current permanent address. So for address proof, you can use those official documents apart from PAN card. And then we have some supporting document as well. Like if the customer is presenting telephone bill or electricity bill or bank statement or the passbook and all, so they can also present it for the to verify the permanent address of that particular customer. Okay, so these are the documentations. Most of time we generally ask, or bank they generally ask for the officially valid documents, and after the after obtaining any of the official valid documents, we can use the supporting documents like the rent agreements or the telephone bill, gas connection bill, or the other one. Okay, so these are generally used in case of individual. And if you talk about the company, so if you open any account of a company, okay, so for that particular one, we bank they generally ask for some documents. So name of company, principal place of business, mailing address of the company, telephone and fax number. So these are the basic requirements. To fulfill these requirements, we have these documents. Okay, like certificate of incorporation and MOA. Then we have a resolution of the board of directors, power of attorney granted to any its managers or any other person, copy of pen allotted to that particular organization, or we have telephone bill or the rental agreement that can also use for the corporate offices. Okay, so when you open an account for the company, let's say you are opening XYZ bank, XYZ company's current account, so you will need these particular document, or that XYZ company they have to present these particular documents for the identification process. Okay, third one we have a partnership firm. So in the case of partnership firm, so this is similar to your company account, but few things like you need a partnership deed. Okay, so legal name, address, all name of all partners and their addresses, telephone numbers and all. So registration certificate if registered, partnership deed is must in case of partnership fund, and any official valid documents identifying these particular partners like PAN card, Aadhaar card, and all their details, and company registered things, okay, details and all, and the telephone bill that can be used for the account opening purpose. Okay, so in case of partnership firm, you have to, like, being a customer, you have to present these particular things, or being a banker, you have to ask these particular things from the customers. Okay, and after a satisfactory result, then only you can open account of that particular company. Okay, so this is generally part of the identification process. Hope you get these particular things clearly. Now the third thing which we are going to discuss, that is risk management. So risk management is again a very important part of the KYC documentation. So eventually, like, we are trying to mitigate any kind of financial losses due to any fake documentation and all. Okay, so risk management again a very important part. So we have, as per the RBI guidelines or provisions which generally maintain under the Rule 7 of Prevention of Money Laundering Act, or Section 35A of Banking Regulation Act, customers, they are categorized among three parts. One is low risk customer, like, let's say any saving bank account, like any customer who opens saving bank account with your bank, so that is a low risk customer. Okay, there is no risk involved in that particular one. Then we have medium risk, so basically we can say companies account and NGOs account and all. And high risk customers, these are NRIs account, or any, it can be any company account or any NGO account. Okay, so we have these three, like, risk is generally categorized among three different parts. For these particular one, we have some provisions. Okay, so periodic updation of information. Bank or RBI, they generally ask bank, you have to maintain the periodic updation for these particular customer as per their risk category. So if there is a customer who is categorized under high risk customer, so in every 2 years you have to update their documentations. If it is a medium risk customer, once in a 8 years, or if it is a low risk customer, once in a 10 year. Okay, so this is the risk profiling which is generally explained by the RBI. And again, very important, guys, for examination purpose, this part is the most important. Okay, so risk management through KYC, we can do risk management through a KYC process, or for that particular one, you, like, we have some guidelines. You have to deal with your customer as per these particular guidelines. If that particular customer belongs to the low risk category, so in every 10 years you have to update the documentations. If that particular one is categorized under high risk category, so in every 2 years you have to do a periodic updation of the informations or the documents like address proof and ID proof and all. So you have to cross check, or you have to we can say, you have to ask the customers to update the latest one. Okay, if there is any kind of changes, or if there is any changes, you have to maintain and act accordingly. Okay, so this is all about the risk management. So I hope, guys, with this you get an idea about the KYC, or the operational aspect of KYC. Fourth one, or the last one we have, that is record management. Okay, so for record management as well, we have some guidelines. So bank should have a system of maintaining proper record of transactions prescribed under Rule 3 of Prevention of Money Laundering Act 2005. So like every bank, like, let's say your customer who did a transactions, so you have to maintain a record for that particular transaction at least for 5 years, and this is generally mentioned under Rule 3 of Prevention of Money Laundering Act. Okay, so you can track, or even, let's say, later on, if you need to track that particular customer, so you can use that particular data. So with reference to provision of PML Act and rule, the bank are required to maintain all necessary record of transaction between bank and customer, both domestic and international, for at least 5 years the date of transaction. Okay, so let's say, being a customer, if you do any transaction today, so bank will maintain that particular transaction at least for 5 years for any kind of future inquiry. Okay, so that is generally part of the record management. I hope you get this particular thing as well. So these are the four key areas where basically we can say these are the operational aspect of KYC. So first one is customer acceptance policy. Second one is customer identification process or procedure. Then third one we have risk management, and fourth one we have the monitoring of these particular transactions. I hope you get these particular thing clearly. Now, since 2016, RBI established a repository where we can hold this particular data of customers, which is generally known as KYC. Okay, and it's a central KYC registry. So central KYC registry means, like, let's say in India we have number of transaction, number of financial institutions or a number of customers. Okay, so like let's say these are operating in different part of world. So different part of the country or even international customer as well. So all these bank or institutions, let's say they are onboarding any customer, so they have to deposit. Now they have to deposit or they have to share their KYC information with this central KYC registry. So if every bank will share their data with central KYC registry, so here it's a public platform where we'll have information about each and individual who is associated with our financial system. Okay, so let's say if there is a customer A who first open account with this bank, after some time he made a fraud. So when he'll open account with this bank D, and when bank D will cross check this data with from this central KYC registry, so they'll tell them ki this is a fraud, this person is a fraud, he already made fraud with bank A, so you can reject the application of this one. Okay, so this way we are generally trying to centralize the data system, and we can use our bank or financial institutions, they can use that particular data to prevent any kind of money laundering activity in the near future. Okay, I hope you get the role and responsibilities of central KYC registry. Okay, so central KYC registry is a registry that serve as a central record for KYC information of all customers of financial institutions. In India, central KYC registry, registry of SARFAESI, securitization, asset reconstruction and security interest of India, has been authorized to carry the function of central KYC registry. Okay, so in India, basically, we have an organization which is registered under Companies Act 2013, which is generally known as Central Registry of Securitization, Asset Reconstruction and Security Interest of India. Okay, and this central KYC registry also come under this CERSAI. Okay, so do remember this particular one. Regulated entities have already been uploading the KYC data pertaining to all individual account open on or after 1st January 2017. So who are regulatory entities? Like banks and other financial institutions. Okay, so they are generally maintaining this particular data with central KYC record from January 1st 2017. And as per the RBI guidelines, regulatory entities should also ensure that in case of account of legal entities open prior to April 1st 2021, the KYC record are uploaded onto the central KYC registry during the process of periodic updation or earlier. Okay, so let's say if there is an account open in 2010 and now they are doing the it's a like low risk customer, now in 2020, like let's say it is open in 2013 and now after 10 years it's a low risk customer, so in 2023 they have to do the periodic updation of that particular account. Okay, so while they do this periodic updation, while they ask customer for the data, so same data they have to share with the central KYC. So we do not need to go into the past, so we can maintain or we can have that particular data. Okay, so regulated entities shall upload the KYC data pertaining to account of legal entities open on after 1st April 2021 on to this CKYCR, which is Central KYC registry. Okay, so let's say like from 2021 or from As on 1st April 2021, any account opened by these regulated entities, so they have to share that particular detail with the central KYC registry. Okay, so for previous account, whenever they will do the updation, they'll share that particular data. But as on April 1st, 2021, any account opened with these particular systems, so that's data shared with the central KYC registry. Okay, so I hope you get this particular thing in detail. So guys, here in this particular video, we talk about KYC, the basics of KYC, because I already did a video, a detailed video on KYC. So where we discuss the officially valid documents in detail, or the risk management, or the other thing. Here we generally talk about an introduction of KYC, officially valid documents, an introduction, and the most important part was the operational aspect of KYC, which like whenever you study the KYC, so we operational aspect of KYC, so we have four major areas. One is customer acceptance policy, another one is customer identification process or procedure, third one is monitoring of transactions, and fourth one is risk management. Okay, and along with this, like nowadays bank, they have to maintain the KYC detail with the central KYC registry. So this is again an important topic, so which you need to know about. So I just gave an introduction about that one as well. Okay, so hope you enjoy the data, you found this video useful. If you like, please do share with your friends. And if you still have some query about the operational aspect of KYC, do mention in comment section. There are some sections which are very important, like Rule 7 of Prevention of Money Laundering Act 2005, or Section 35A of BR Act, or Rule 5. So these are very important areas, or the food process, or the officially valid documents, and the final one is central KYC repository. Okay, so do take care about these particular things for your examination purpose. And if you like the video, please do share with your friends, and do like my video. And if you're new to my channel, please do subscribe. Okay, so please share your comments, how you feel about this particular video, or like if you have any suggestion, do mention in comment section. Okay, so I'll see you soon with a new video. Till that, stay tuned and have a nice day. Thank you guys.